Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to animate like we do in the Foodies. So the first thing that we want to do is we just want to search for the software we're using, which is called Blender. So after we search for Blender, we're just going to come here and we're going to click blender.org. So you're going to see this, so you just want to click download and then it'll take you through the process of downloading it. Blender is completely free, unlike other softwares like Adobe Animate. Blender is completely free. I already have it installed, but you can install it. So while Blender is installing, we're gonna come to any Foodies episode. For example, I am currently in Foodies episode 3, but you can go to any of them. You'll search for Foodies episode 2. We search for that. Here it is. And then yeah, so then we can just come here and then you come to the description and it should say download the Foodies assets. If you're a kid, please get consent before downloading any of these files. So you're just going to click on the Google Drive. If you're a kid, please get parent consent. And yeah, so now we are just going to download all of the assets. Note that we're not going to be using mouth assets because we're still working on making those. We're just going to draw the assets manually in Blender. And if you're wondering about the audio we're going to be using, we're going to be using the audio from the beginning of Foodies episode 3, where Apple says, "Hey Orange, I dare you to do boss." I've linked the file for that audio in the description, but you can always record your own audio, just do that. I'm just going to use that audio for this video. Now we need to download 3 assets, the Apple asset. So once you do, it's just going to scan it for viruses. Don't worry, there are no viruses, it's just a PNG file. The I asset, just download that. Scan that for viruses and then that. And finally, limb asset. Download that. Scan for viruses. And there we go. Now we have all 3 assets that we need. Now Blender should have finished installing for you, so now I'm just going to open up Blender and I'm just going to start animating. And remember to download the audio if you want to use the audio that I provided. Okay, so here we are in Blender. Now yours may look a little bit different than mine. It may show like a different image because I'm using an older version of the software. But you know, most of it is just the same. It's not really a big difference. It may ask you to go through like a setup process, asking for your preferences. But yeah, so after this is your main setup. Now, if we go general, then it's going to bring us just to like this 3D layout. But we don't want to animate 3D, we want to animate 2D. So we're just going to click new, or you don't always have to do this. When it shows the startup screen, it should also show a 2D animation. But yeah, so we're just going to click 2D animation, double click it. Doesn't work just now. We're just gonna not save this 3D animation. And now here we are in our 2D space. So, you know, if you want to just play around with it, then you can. If you want to undo something, if we want to insert a shape, then we just want to press enter after we're done inserting it. And if we want to make it look a bit more black, that's because right now we're in grease pencil, we want to click ink pen. Now, if we make it, it'll look more like a dark shape. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering, why are we getting to the Foodies part? Well, first, I want you guys to understand the different modes. So previously, we were in draw mode. Now, draw mode is where you can draw stuff. It's where we are going to be drawing all of the maps. But yeah, so let's just also delete this square. And actually, no, let's not delete the square, because I'm going to need that to show you guys the example. So let's just keep that square. Perfect. Now just press enter. Press enter if you wanted this thing to go away. Or you can just go back to draw mode and that's gone by. Now we want to go back. Now we want to go to object mode. Now, what's the difference between draw mode and object mode? Well, in object mode, you can move around the object. You can see if I click the move tool, it allows me to see where I'm moving it. I'll show me the view here, as you can see. Another cool thing you can do in Blender, which I don't think you can do in many other animation softwares, is you can see 2D objects in a 3D view. How cool is that? You can spin it around like this. It's really cool. If you want to go back to like the camera view, and by the way, this is the this thing over here is the camera. Don't move it around because it's kind of hard to bring it back to its original position if you move it around too much, but just click back to camera and now it's back to the camera view. The next tool we have, yes, is this tool. You can move it up, move it down, actually move it sideways and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a really nice tool. One of my favorites. And now we have the rotate tool, which is where you can rotate around. You can also rotate it like this. So that's pretty cool. And of course, if you want to revert back, you can just press Ctrl Z and it'll just revert back. This is our sizing tool, which allows us to increase the size of the object. So if we want to make it really small, we can do that. If we want to make it really big, we can do that. We can just keep it at this size. I like that. Now we can this is your like increasing the size in a certain way. I don't really use this tool much, but yeah. And then this is our select tool where we can just select what object we want to use. Okay, so now that we've understood all of those different modes, now let's start working on our Foodies animation. So we can just go into object mode, just select this, then we just can click delete, and now that object is gone. And now you may be wondering, well, why can't I go back to draw mode? That's because that object was drawn with a stroke. And a stroke is how you draw things. So when you want to delete something in a stroke, you don't delete it just like that. Now our draw mode is back. We want to erase it here. Now you may see this eraser is very light. So we can go to brush settings and increase the eraser to stroke. And there we go. So just keep that in mind. And remember guys, if it feels like I'm going a bit too fast, you're getting confused, you can always go back to the video. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Now we're going to import our Foodies assets. But first, we need to import our audio. So we want to click that plus icon you should see here. And then we want to search for the folder in which we have the audio that we want to use. So this is my audio, and I'm just going to show you guys it. So there we go. There is our audio. And now what I don't want all of these frames, so I'm just going to find a frame where this ends. Okay, so it ends at, what's this frame? 85. So I'm just going to come here to my frame settings, and I'm just going to make it end at 85. And now, if I play the animation again, now our animation starts at that point. Anyways, now let's import our Foodies assets that we got. So I would recommend putting them in the folder. As you can see, I have my Foodies assets all over here. But for this video, I created a new folder, which I just named folder for video. And I'm just going to select all of these. But in some cases, the assets that you're using won't be directly next to each other. I'm just using all of them. So you can also just select one, then press Control, and then just select the other one you want. Because if you just select one, then select another, it will unselect this one. But I'm just going to select all of them because those are all of them. I just want all of them. So now it switches back to object mode because these are all their own objects. So now I'm just going to select Apple asset, and I also just want it to be resized a little bit. So I'm just going to resize it. Now I'm just going to move this leg asset around. Just going to, now I want Apple to also be moved a little bit. Then I'm just gonna click copy and click paste so I can duplicate this leg. There we go. And I'm also just gonna resize it a little bit. That looks pretty good. Now just gonna copy and paste this one because I want to make my hand. So I'm just gonna use the rotate tool and I'm just gonna rotate like this because that's what I want the starting position to be of the hand. And I'm going to be doing lip sync last. First, we're going to focus on the movements, which is going to be in object mode. So, I'm just going to start with that. Just want it to be like this. Now for the eye, this eye looks very big. So I'm just going to resize it, and I love this size. Paste it. There we go. I'm just going to use this one. I don't need to copy and paste again because, yeah. Now you may see that the eye is behind Apple Assets. So this is where the 3D view comes in handy because watch this. We move this back, it goes out of it. But if we move it a little bit forward and we go back to camera view, there is our eye. So sometimes it can go behind the assets. You can always go into 3D view and use this little green arrow to push it forward or backward and get it in just the right spot. So I messed it up a little bit there. Just gonna push it back forward. Now it looks pretty good. We got Apple right there looking at us. So I'm just gonna go back to stroke and draw the first mouth because I just want to. You don't have to because we're not doing lip sync yet. But I'm just gonna draw the first mouth because it's a hey. So the mouth is gonna start with the hey. But yeah, for now we don't have to worry about lip sync. I'm just drawing it because I just like it. But yeah. So first what I want is I want his arms to kind of just move up a little bit. So I wanted to start on frame 4. So I'm just going to move his arms up a little bit. Control Z. Just wanted to, don't want that one. Skip like that. Let's see this. There you go. Go play kind of quick, but it's because I did it at a quick frame. Now I kind of want the arms to kind of just turn a little bit, shift their position. Because I want his arm to kind of just go down and then go up. I'm just trying to do movements. I know this movement may not necessarily fit the scene of the animation, but I'm basically just trying to show you guys how to use the different movements. And of course, you can also import backgrounds just the same way you import assets. Just make them bigger. But yeah. Yeah. Now if I want his leg to move, and just move this leg, and then I want it to revert back. Let's do that. Let's see how this animation came out. That's not the best animation ever, but I think it does express very well how the movements work. And of course, remember, you can always go back and rewatch. That is it for the object mode section of the video. Now we're going to go to draw mode. So in draw mode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click duplicate frame. Now I want to see where the part starts. Okay, so that's where the hey is. So the hey can just remain till this part. So hey. So now the or starts at this part. So I'm just going to duplicate the frame, and I don't need this duplicate. Just because it's not going to change anything. The part says the exact same. And don't worry about the 0 frame having no mouth because our animation does not start at 0. It starts at 1. Don't worry about that. So now we need to edit this up. So what we can do is we can just erase this. And you don't have to worry about it going over for the other frame because that is its own keyframe. So now we can just draw O. And now we can duplicate this again. And then since it's orange, we just put this tongue. Then you can also duplicate this frame and not edit this because it's me. Oh, hey, orange. Let's see how that came out if the mounts weren't correct. I did. Now, going back to that O mouth, so we can just reduplicate that. Oh, I dare you to that do the. Now we need to draw. This is the wrong mouth, so I can just delete that keyframe. So here it is, the mouth. Let's see how this is coming out so far. Okay, so I think this should be a little bit more closer, so I can just move that frame. So now I think I want the F to start here. Then I can just draw an F mouth. That's not a very good F mouth, so I'm just gonna draw it again. decent enough mod. You guys can of course roll the mods however you would like. I'm not really focused on drawing the mods like all amazing. I'm just basically trying to show you guys how it works. Of course, when I'm making episodes, I have to care about, making the things right. But, yeah. I'm just trying to show you guys the basic fundamentals of animating in Blender, of course. So let's see. And there you go. That is our animation. So let's just see it again. So to recap what we did, we had some movements where the hands and the legs start moving. We used our rotate tool and moving tool. Then we drawed all of the mounts for the animation, and we got our final result. And as a last minute touch, let me show you guys how to import a background to really make your animation stand. And I'll also leave a link to the background that I'm using. I'm just going to search right here, background. So I'm just going to be using here, background. Should be the one, no, it's not the one. That is just a blue background. I want the background with everything. Let me just find it really quick. And okay, so let's just use, how about this one? This is one of my favorite backgrounds. It's the one I was looking for. Actually, I was looking for one with the grass, but it's fine. We can also use this one. Now let's just scale this up a little bit more. And now it looks like Apple's floating in the air and asking Orange to do floss. Kind of funny, of course, not how the real episode was, but yeah. And now I can just delete this background. And I think I remember where the other one was. I'll leave a link to both of the backgrounds. Actually, I think they're both in the Foodies assets folder, so you guys can just get them from there. But yeah. Okay, but yeah, I can't find the background I want to use, but it's totally fine. But yeah, you guys understand the fundamentals of this animation, so that's all we need. And yeah, now if we want to render our animation in an MP4 format, we just come to this symbol, which is called Output Properties. We have everything selected. Let's just select the folder. I'll just put it in Downloads. Then we want to select FMPEG Video. Then we want to go in Coding. Just select MPEG-4. Do the same thing for this part. Output quality. I'm just going to put a high quality. Don't need to be good. And then if we want to keep the audio, we just put that as MP3. And then we just want to click render, and it'll start rendering our animation. I don't want to keep this, but you guys can just look at it if you want to keep your animation. Just click render, and then just click render animation. Alright, anyways, I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.